So, on model-based testing, maybe you're not convinced. Maybe you're thinking, seems like a lot of work to set up the models here. Even if we try to make it as user-friendly as possible, it is more work up front. So I'm going to make 5 arguments for why go with model-based testing. And if this doesn't really resonate with you, then maybe you can use more of a process-oriented approach. Model-based testing is not for everything. The 5 arguments are, first of all, let's talk reuse, and let me demo that for you. So let's say now we already created this create model here. Now let's say we want to add update on top of that. So how you update a project is that you select it here in the list and then you click edit. Because we have now the data cached, we can actually know here that this is the current project name, so we can give you this kind of autocomplete things that makes it much easier. We need to make sure we hit that pen to do update project and select that pen. Now for the beautiful part. So if you go into update here, the only thing you can see is that the form is kind of the same. The only difference is that instead of project name, and instead of name, it says project name here. So we're going to need to update that selector. And the way we do that is using a regular expression selector. So we'll use project name or name. Now we can reuse the name field to use it both for create and edit. And then speaking of reuse, now I can just simply select start date, end date, and project category, because we know that those fields are identical. So here you see the reuse between create and update. Furthermore, now that we add the update, I'll add the modify step, update project, and now I can choose which fields to update. We can also add the same validation step we used for create. It will just simply update the data. And here you can see the data being sent are different regular expressions that we're driving this with, where we use a random project category. And just like that, we have automatically generated an update project test case with a given step that creates a project, an update step that updates the following data as we set with the checkboxes, name, start date, end date, and project category, and then there has a validation. The second argument I will make is for maintainability, and this goes without saying. Let's say there is an update to the project form, simply update the form here, the selector, or add if there's another required field, and then all the tests will be updated. The third case is a little more subtle. It's about debugging. How do you debug this? Well, in Boozang, this is not just for model-based testing. When you run one of these tests, we have here a data debugger where you can see the data, what the value is at all times, and you can basically just go into the application at any point, and you can switch to the data debugger and see the parameter name at that particular point. And that allows you to kind of have a time machine to go back and see what values were used and the data state of your application and your test. The fourth case I want to make is scale. So let me run and open the full commercial project. So if you look at the overview of the AI models, you'll have a number of modules that are all mapped out just like I did. And inside of these modules, you can have submodules which will automatically set up the dependencies. You are getting a lot for free. So let me show you something where I've been kind of just writing a test manually from scratch. Here you can now start nestling stuff. Given I'm logged in as admin, there is a resource, there is a project, there is a task. I update the task in a certain way. There is a budget. I do some scheduling, I wait, and it should be auto-planned. So as you can imagine, this is of course hundreds of actions, very, very complex things. But you can see how structured and how easy this is. And if you look at I update a task, you can see how we're driving data and setting the due date of the task to be today. If you're looking at that scale of a project on the reporting side, here I have my model-based test, my non-model-based tests, also my form-fill tests, a huge amount of, this is my Jenkins run, I can see all the failed tests, and automatically now for each stage, I capture the screenshots and of course the problematic screenshots where the error is. And it's very easy for me to troubleshoot here in Jenkins the results. And then the last point I want to make is kind of the bonus features you get when you do model-based testing. So far we found at least 2 bonus opportunities to build into the tool. We can add a rule-based form fill engine where you can simply add validation rules to validate that if all the required fields are set, etc., is the add button enabled or is it disabled? And basically you can build these really quick validations. The second bonus feature is something that is really cool, which is check access permissions. Right now, I can now create a very straightforward test with access rights. Basically, I am logged in, there is one project, I set my access rights, and then I can just validate access rights depending on the operation or the alias I set on that control. So it will automatically scan all the forms and make sure the user has the right to, for instance, create a project, and the create button should be enabled. So these are 5 advantages we see so far of model-based testing. We would love to hear your opinions on that. And I would really love if you would try out Boozang, which is currently free for doing beta testing, as this is a pre-release feature. So please try it out and let us know what you think. And also all ideas are welcome on how to improve this.